Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh, everybody. I'm Preacher Mars, host of the SOS, the Shout Out Show. Welcome to More Better Mondays. Hope you're having a good day. At least you're to the end of a good day, or at least you're to the end of a raggedy day, and you can start on Tuesday and have a good day. We don't care, brothers and sisters. The idea, we appreciate you coming and spending a little time with us. The title might be a little alarming, might sound a little harsh, but according to the UN report on climate change, brothers and sisters, Mother Earth is pissed off. Now, I'd be a fool to tell you Mother Earth just been pissed off recently, been pissed off for a long time. We've all had our space where we've contributed to the detriment of our climate, self included. Self included. There's always been a thing we could have done. We could have recycled. We could have picked up trash. We could have not run our air conditioners for so long. We could have just done some basic things, recycle. We could have cut off the lights. We could have done all these things to, in some way, reduce our carbon imprint on this climate. You see, because the truth, brothers and sisters, there's been a lot of things that have gone on. We're in 2021, and I think it has to do something with the fact that we don't listen. We don't listen. The only time we listen to Mother Earth is when Mother Earth says, you know what? Let me let you know that you're not in control of this thing. And we get these natural disasters. So we get yearly wildfires in California. We get floods to the southeast. We get all these things. We get massive snows. We in Texas, they got sub-zero temperatures, and people don't go, where's this coming from? Where's this weird weather coming from? And I sit here going, brothers and sisters, take a listen. Listen to the wildfires. Listen to the Hurricane Harveys. Listen to the deep freezes. Listen to places around the world, mountaintops that were snow-capped that now have little if any snow. Listen to the fact that there's a water situation going on and we don't even talk about it. We talk around it. And let me start out by saying, no, brothers and sisters, I am not a climate change enthusiast or expert. I'm a climate change acknowledger that I have to change my behavior, as well as other people have to change their behavior. And I say, how hard is it? But then again, I look around and say, we can't even save ourselves. We can't take vaccines to save ourselves and protect the lives of other people. So I'm thinking Mother Earth is really pissed because Mother Earth is going, if you can't save yourself, what hope do I have? And the reminders are deep and intense and consistent. We talk about Hurricane Harvey, but we forget about Hurricane Katrina. We talk about this recent wildfire, but there's been a ton of other wildfires. We will talk about the Delta variant until we get a hold of the Lambda variant or any other variant that's coming through. And my point, brothers and sisters, is this behavior, this repetitive, inferior, unintellectual, unengaged behavior is leading to a global climate crisis. We are 15 degrees, probably cooler than hell right now. And that's the way I feel. It's always been that way. You see, when I was a kid, summertime was hot. It was hot, but it was seasonally hot. And when the season went over, it would go down. So at the end of the summer, fall, August, it get a little cooler and kids would be in school, and by about the end of August, you started getting to your fall weather. We are in a situation where the seasons are all jacked up. And we don't want to acknowledge it. There's a difference between our grandmothers and our fathers because they grew up in a time where they didn't know. They didn't know. However, the inheritors of this land knew. The inheritors of this land, the United States, knew that the constant trespassing and abuse, climate abuse, brothers and sisters, is literally the thing that hurt them more than losing their land. That's the idea that somebody takes your land and abuses it. And we still deal with that today. The quiet hushes from the brothers in the buffalo who used to roam the plains, it doesn't register with folks that walk out and throw a piece of trash on the ground, who use all these plastic bottles, who have figured out somehow that my behavior is not connected to the climate or the universe. Nana Furman said it in one of her interviews. She said every religion advocates protecting of the climate. Every religion. Islam, Judaism, Christianity, they advocate for a love and a protection of the land. It's a trust. It's an amana. And we still haven't gotten it. So, brothers and sisters, I'm going to take you back a little bit, because you remember Hurricane Katrina was what year was that? Like 2004, right? There's a chain of events, brothers and sisters, that you can't forget, but we have. Many of us have. It wasn't until I started to do my due diligence for this segment that I began to say, man, I have let almost 17 years pass by from an event that affected me. I mean, it literally had me distraught. We're going to come back and get started. Let's start the show. You better listen, because Mother Earth is pissed off. Hit it. So here we are, brothers and sisters. Let me go ahead and take this out real quick. I want to give a shout out to anybody who's coming on the shout out show for the first time. Thank you for dropping in. We appreciate you. We hope we can give you a show that's worthy of your time and your cognitive surplus. If you don't mind, if you have something to say, please jump into the comment section. You know the rules. Share, subscribe, like. Share, subscribe, like. That's all I need to say. I'm not going to give a big thing. And if you come back to the show, let's say 2 to 3 times, I'm going to make you an official member of the Shout Out Show family. Now, it doesn't come easy, brothers and sisters. This is an eclectic group of people. So when I roll up and say stars in the building, you're going to know what I'm talking about, because these people are long-term supporters and they're thinkers. I may say that I am the host of the Shout Out Show. However, I'm not the owner of the platform. It's the people who make the platform, who drive the stories, if you will. So let's get them up right now. Stars in the building. First up, we got Sister Ree. Sister Ree has let me get Sister Ree's information. Building first up, we got Sister Ree. Oh, sorry about that. We have a situation, brothers and sisters. Sister Ree has some news to share with us, which I thought was excellent. She has a new restaurant. We want to make sure we give the wad to Sister Ree about her new restaurant. It is Soulful Creations, not soul food. Soulful Creations, coming to a belly near you. Not a store, a belly near you. Hopefully, a belly near me. All right. So, Sister Ree, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Its debut is Saturday at the International Marketplace. We're going to be making the wad for you, Sister Ree, and I will make sure everybody in that area knows you better go get some from Soulful Creations. Don't be slipping, and don't eat it there, because you're going to fall asleep in the parking lot. Soulful Creations comes with a free side dish of Negroitis. All right, so we had to put that out there. Thank you so much, Ree. It's a free side dish of itis. Most people want lemonade. Next up, we got my main man, Altaf Rashid. Wa'alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Altaf, thanks so much for coming on the show. Brothers and sisters, in case you don't know, Altaf is, of course, our Canadian ambassador to the show. Make sure the flavor and the texture and the flow of the show is permissible on this side of the border and the Canadian side of the border. You know, Altaf, I really like to get some of your input on climate change, because we're talking about it around the world. I know in the United States, climate change is, I don't know what we're doing here. But in Canada, I want to see how climate change is prioritized, if you will. Please feel free to share it with us throughout the broadcast. Next up, Brother Youssef, my main man. How you hanging in the crypto market? I'm about to have a crypto janaza a couple weeks ago, but I held in there. Held in there. Good to see you. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother. I know you probably got something to say about climate change. Even the crypto market, man. The mining, doing the mining in China, they outlaw some of it because it leaves a carbon footprint. Even the crypto markets are going through a space where they're trying to reduce their carbon imprint. So even everybody's getting in the act right now. And it also says that people are responsible. Yusuf, thank you so much for coming on the show, brother. Appreciate you. Next up, what's going on, brother Z? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Everybody, this is my big brother out of Toledo. My main man. Good to see you on the show, man. I hope that you and the family are doing well. He's a hard working brother and sister. Keep him in your dua. Keep everybody I mentioned in your dua. This brother right here is a community fellow. You know what? Wouldn't take a dime for all the work he does, and you better not mention it because he'll fight you and deny. My main man Ziad. Good to see you, big brother Z. Thank you for coming on the show. Next up, we got my little brother Johnny L. Thomas, to me known as JT. What's going on, Doc? Good to see you on the show talking about climate change today. So let's get it in. Let's get it in. So next up, okay, we got our consultant producer, without whom so much is not possible, but with whom so much is possible and so much gets done. So we're going to shout out Sister Satana Woodfield working the back end of the production piece. We appreciate you, sister. So let me get to the beginning of this story, brothers and sisters. So let's roll. Mother Earth is pissed off. Now, the title comes from the fact that the UN is to issue a scorching and blistering report about climate change. We're not doing well. If it was a report card, we would not only have failed for this year, we would have been retained to repeat the same grade probably 2-3 times over. Why? Because the lesson is there. We're not listening to the lesson. Even to my mind, brothers and sisters, I realized that there's the first person we had talking about it was Nana Furman came on and talked to us about the Islamic perspective and the green idea about climate change. She works as a consultant or advisor to the White House. Very articulate, gave us great information. And then a couple weeks ago, I don't even think it was maybe like 2 weeks ago, I talked about that crying Indian. Remember the crying Indian, brothers and sisters? I spoke about the crying Indian and the whole idea about how corporates pulled a fast one and got us thinking about pollution like it was our problem, like they don't do anything. And I talked about it, and I know I went through some things about the fact that they gave us an Italian as opposed to actual Native American and blah, 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 blah. But what shouldn't have been lost there, brothers and sisters, was that commercial, that specific commercial did do some good work in terms of trying to clean up the environment. But we fell off. Every dangerous carbon, every toxin that we can dump into the world, I want to say probably from the Ford years, the Carter years, and definitely the Reagan years, we've done. We roll back every kind of regulatory anything in terms of corporate pollution. So now we are where we are now. So you may go, well, preacher, why does this make sense? I'm going to tell you why this makes sense and why it actually bothered me. And it's a lot of things that bother me, but very, very few things really, really bother me. I can move on, but very, very, very rarely does something really tear at my soul. I'm talking about, really just rip it out. Like you don't want to go out of the house for the day. Like you just want to think about life. I'm going to roll this tape. Now, this situation happens after Hurricane Katrina in 2004 down in Louisiana. Pay attention. That area of Louisiana was devastated by Hurricane Katrina. A lot of loss of life, property, and so on, integrity. But this situation was different. So I'm going to ask you guys to bear with me. I'm going to bring it up. Just watch. Okay, brothers and sisters, you saw the graphic. Over 230 people die in this tsunami. Now, let's be honest. Before it happened, a lot of us had never even used the word tsunami. Last time I heard the word tsunami used around my group of friends was in reference to a brand of alcohol. It moved me to the point where I said, wait a minute, 230,000 people just perished, brothers and sisters, perished. And I couldn't really fathom the fact that this body of water that they were around gave them life. It gave them fishing, it gave them economy, it gave them peace, it gave them health. And then all of a sudden, it became pissed off. And the plates underneath Sumatra shifted and created an earthquake of 9.1 magnitude earthquake. And it shifted the ocean floor and created water. You saw the thing and you couldn't fathom it, brothers and sisters, because it was just like that. Like, just like that. Like, this is not a slow moving thing where you could broadcast it, you can plan for it. It's not rain coming on Thursday. This is pretty much in the moment. It moved me to the point that I called the owners, the managers of the Improv Comedy Club in Washington, D.C. Shout out to them. I asked them if they would host a fundraiser to aid the people of Banda Aceh and the victims, if you will, the victims and the survivors, if you will, of this tsunami, which they agreed to do. Not only did they host it, they gave up all the drink money and the food money. All the ticket money went to this organization called Asia Relief. I will put it out here. Asia Relief turned out to be a fraud. They took the money and never sent it to the people. I'm going to put that out there in case you ever hear of someone claiming to be Saeed, I'll leave it alone. But in any event, it didn't go out there, which further got me upset. But you understand something. As you watch the video on the plague, and I'm going to bring up Sister Nana Furman because she begins her career, brothers and sisters, working in the relief of this tsunami. If you remember on the show, she talked about being an urban planner, a city planner, if you will, trying to make sure that everything was, a city planner. And then she got pulled into this tsunami. They needed help trying to resurrect cities, to redesign cities. And I'm like, you can feel it, brothers and sisters. This is something that was really, really serious. And again, thanks, big thanks to Sister Nana Furman. But in her interview, her TED Talk, if you will, she very convincingly and compassionately reminds everybody that you don't need to be reminded, that you live this thing every day, that we live it every day. When I say live it every day, we make environmental choices every day. I recently had to get an air conditioner replaced, right? Now, the air conditioner had been gone out, and the repairman was like, maybe you need some Freon, I was hoping it's Freon because I'm cheap, And I had an old air conditioner. And he said, well, what kind of AC do you have? And I told him, he said, well, I'm asking because I think the Freon that they use for your machine, they stopped making it. And he had told me they stopped making it. And the reason they stopped making this particular brand of Freon is because they had found it hazardous and damaging to the environment. I had this air conditioner for 15 years, brothers and sisters. Think of the damage I've done just trying to stay cool. And think of all the damage that everybody's done trying to stay cool, which is part and parcel. The fact we got to stay cool and we're dealing with intense heat in many regards is because we're dealing with climate change. See, it all goes around someplace. Now, like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert, but I have no problem bringing an expert to the fold to speak on this. Now, Sister Furman, I'll give it up to. She's a very nice sister. She doesn't raise her voice. She shouldn't have to. In this case, she is giving information, brothers and sisters, that you need to listen to, self-included, because she's giving you a blueprint, brothers and sisters, as to how we either going to heal the environment or the environment is going to do away with us and make us irrelevant. Let's get to it. Sister Nina Furman.
Going to build in this very prone area. And a few years after that, I had another incredible chance. I was called by the largest conservation organization, the World Wildlife Fund, to help out on the relief effort after the largest tsunami in the world, the largest earthquake and tsunami in the world, which happened in the northern part of Sumatra. And I was called to go there in the region called Aceh. This earthquake was 9.0 in Richter scale, and followed by the tsunami that went across the Indian Ocean from Asia to Africa. So you can imagine the devastated area. My challenge was to actually conducted a program, what is called green reconstruction. It was a very difficult task because, as you know, after the disaster, everybody wants to have everything in the rapid process. And at that time, there's like about 500,000 people lost their houses. So the most challenges was how to build the houses in the very short term. But little that people know that we had challenge on the resources, especially the timber. So at that time, I run the campaign. It's called Sustainable Timber or Timber for Aceh. So the green reconstruction itself is to make sure that all the rehabilitation and the reconstruction after disaster is not going to damage in the future the environmental and ecological balances. And this initiative, the green reconstruction, has been replicated in other disaster part of the world, because the next year after that, there was a big earthquake in Pakistan, and they actually replicate this program over there, and also it's been used in Haiti after the earthquake. So I realized after several years involving in this, that actually I've been practicing my faith all along. As I was taught when I was growing up, that in my belief, all human beings are guardians of this earth. So therefore, we have to live in harmony with it. And I want to tell you the story of Jakarta. As it was mentioned that I come from Jakarta, I grew up there. And in 2008, there was a crisis in the city. In the beginning of 2008, the road, the access from the city to the airport, which is about 30 kilometers, was covered by water. It was flooded. So the access was blocked. This is the most largest and busiest airport in the whole country. It's called Soekarno-Hatta International Airport. So you can imagine the city was put in a standstill for about a week. This is the capital of the nation. So from that on, I realized that a lot of climate change effect has been going on in the world. And also that climate change is the cost and will be the cost for more and more disaster in the future. And besides that, also we are facing with population density in Jakarta, and also pollution in our water and air, and also like lack of greenery. The green space, we're having the lack of green space because of the population. Jakarta consists of approximately 20 million people. So you can imagine it's a very large city covering 660 square meters. So most of this problem that we're facing is blamed to the lack of government officials having the firm strategic planning. They tend to fix the problem as it comes, as it pops up. So looking at those challenges and taking my experiences with the geological issues, with working in disaster area, I call upon my colleagues, the urban professional who wants to volunteer and do something for the city.
So first of all, make sure we send out prayers and du'as to Sister Nana Furman for no other reason than she gets it. For no other reason than she totally understands what it is. And when she started mentioning just the simple idea that as you try to rebuild environments, the idea is that you don't do further harm to the environment is such a noble idea. I think that's in like prophetic tradition someplace, that you don't, when you're fixing a harm, you don't bring more harm to the situation. And she mentioned, of course, Indonesia. She mentioned Pakistan. She mentioned Haiti. I didn't hear the U.S., but I didn't expect to. Maybe the U.S. is in there and we're trying to do good things. But my point, brothers and sisters, is that she makes a very compelling argument to the fact that you have to work in advance of problems. She talked about her politicians in Jakarta. These are the same thing our politicians right here. We can't get anything passed on climate change. Al Gore had a movie called The Inconvenient Truth, which I believe came out in 2006, but it followed Hurricane Katrina, and it probably didn't even mention Banda Aceh tsunami. And it came out and it got standing ovations at Sundance and da-da-da. And we talked about it and they had a follow-up to it. But we haven't done anything. The UN gives this blistering report that says we are bad stewards of the universe. We are lousy tenants of Mother Nature, who gives us everything and asks us nothing. Sound familiar? But my point is, just the idea that we're not getting it, just the idea that we've had another report come out and remind us that we're not getting it, and not just reminding that we're not getting it, but we're being even more belligerent. We're doubling down on our ignorance in regards to climate change. Part of climate change, she talked about working with a conservation unit, because part of conservation is what? Saving the environment, not just protecting it, but saving it, building it out, brothers and sisters. You know, we're not even going to talk about water. I think water is going to be another show. I'm going to tell you guys, all the bottled water and stuff like that. I'm going to tell you guys something. I know it's a big thing for some of the charities. We build wells in Africa and Pakistan. Well, damn it, you're going to be building wells in Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles and spots like that at the rate that we're wasting water, because it's not meant to be here forever. You can't use water. There's a great book called The Power of Nothing, and it really gives you a breakdown in terms of what it really costs for something. Like if you like a hamburger, you go to Burger King and the beef and all of that, and you get it your way, and it's like, whatever, they charge you $3, but they said the real cost of the hamburger in terms of water and resources is almost $80. You would never pay for an $80 hamburger, but you pay for a $3 hamburger. And we would look the other way on the fact that The difference between that 80 and 3 is $73 worth of resources that can be used for something else. All right, I'm not going to go on a rant today. Satana, I'm not going on a rant today. I'm upset. I'm ticked off. I'm hot under the collar. Not even because of climate change. I'm just hot under the collar because we're not doing what we need to do. Doug Robinson says, I remember being impressed with the number of dead and thinking how devastated it would be if that many people died in the U.S. There you go, Doug. 615,000 people later. Well, I'm here to tell you, brothers and sisters, whether we want to admit it or not, I'm going to tell you this. I believe that this virus, that this COVID, that this pandemic has a lot to do with climate change, has a lot to do with our places being overpopulated. That if something would have happened, that a virus would break out, guess what will happen, brothers and sisters? It would be a pandemic because we don't have space to breathe. We're all up in each other's faces, brothers and sisters. You know, they talked about bats and things like that, and I'm like, yo, this is real talk. Doug is 100% correct. You know, 615,000 people dead here in the United States, but in 14 countries, in a period of less than an hour, 230,000 people gone. They didn't even have the ability to just be sick. They weren't even sick. They were healthy, and a tsunami killed them off. And add to the fact that the after effects of the tsunami means that it destroyed their mainlands. So they're still trying to rebuild. All right. So I'm going to say, please, let's make dua for our environment. Let's try and do better on climate change. Again, big shout out to Sister Nana Furman, who's just dropping jewels all over the place, brothers and sisters. And remind ourselves, you know what, that our actions today have a consequence for tomorrow, just like our actions back in the day have a consequence right now. All right, let's get to our close. Roll out. Brothers and sisters, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors, BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. Again, that's BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. You can call 1-888-496-6845. Again, that's 1-888-496-6845. We also want to give a shout out to Bayan Islamic Graduate School. Again, that's Bayan Islamic Graduate School. We hope to have the president of Bayan on for our Saturday spotlight, inshallah. Listen, if you're thinking about getting a quality graduate education, Islamic education at the graduate level or the doctoral level, guess what? Bayan Islamic Graduate School is the place you need to check out, especially if you're thinking about getting a Master's of Divinity in Muslim chaplaincy. They have the only Muslim chaplaincy program in the country. So you want to make sure you check that out. All right. You can go to bayanonline.org. Again, that's bayanonline.org. Brothers and sisters, peace and blessings to you. Peace and blessings to Mother Nature. Don't be pissed with us. Give us a chance, Mother Nature. Give us a chance to work ourselves out. We're wretched. We're not worthy. All right. I'm out, brothers and sisters. That's a shout-out show. See you Tuesday, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And before I go, I want to give some shout-outs. I'm going to give a shout-out to Sister Nancy Mustafa. Keep her in your duas, brothers and sisters. She took ill suddenly. Very serious. Keep her in your dua. Also keep... Brother Nathaniel Haas in your thoughts and prayers. He's battling, he's trying to hang in there, got the COVID. Also, brothers and sisters, I want to make sure that we give a shout out to Sister Lorraine, also Brother Kendrick, and give a shout out to my mama, son, brothers and sisters trying to hold it down. I'm Preacher Mars, this is SOS. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye now.